There, now we look normal sized.
So,
All right, it's on.
Here we are.
It's fucking on. So
Yeah, there's the
listeners are there. Oh, and then we can see the comments here, so I don't have to worry about that there.
Yeah.
Hopefully people figure out how to get here, because it's kind of convoluted.
Well, in the meantime, you want to play solitaire or poker or something to just wait it out.
I don't know what to do.
We can wrestle thumbs.
Yeah, okay. 1,
1,
2,
2,
3,
3,
4. I declare a thumb war.
Wow, I didn't know about all that.
This is good. This is good media.
Did you use lotion this morning?
No.
Your hands are so soft.
Yes. Now I own everyone's agnostic.
Yeah, that was the deal.
That was the
Whoever
deal.
won the thumb wrestle
Wins
inherits
all of it. Yes, everything.
Or I don't know. Can we say that I could sell it to you for $1 like someone else did?
Yeah, like Daryl Ray did. Yeah, no, that's
name it,
fine.
yeah.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
I assume. Hey, Todd.
Who dat?
Todd's on. Todd
Yoder,
Todd is here.
you know, the guy that I praised for just being the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, he was very flattered. I don't know that he knows that he's the nicest guy ever. Yeah.
I think everybody else does. That's all that's important.
He is. He's nice. We went for a bike ride in Kansas, and I'm trying to think. I was really tired.
Did you keep up with him?
He slowed down for me. Oh, hey, Brian Peck.
Brian Peck.
What
an honor. Dr. Brian Peck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you guys can like give us a sound check, like, cause is everything sounding
We're not
okay?
going to hear them.
Right? They could just tell us, right?
So,
they can type in, can't they?
Yeah, there might be a delay on this, so it might take
You
a
guys.
moment.
Is that a noogie? Kind of a noogie that he's you guys.
Yeah. So there's probably like at least like a 10-second delay, so we're not going to get reactions right away.
Okay. But it just if
Hey,
somebody wants to tell us we sound good, we sound muffled,
right. So at some
we sound
point,
like mice.
All right, Todd.
Okay, Todd says it sounds good.
Howdy from Minnesota. I miss it.
Carrie.
Not. Yeah, Carrie. She just Carrie, who just showed up, was on our most recent episode a week ago.
Yeah, just last weekend. Yeah.
That was a good episode. We talked a lot about death.
Life coaching.
Life coaching, yeah.
And he is love. That song stuck in my head for a couple of days after editing the show. I only did like a verse and a chorus, but and then I got out. It's not that it was bad, it's just triggering, and so
just triggering. Oh, thanks for the sound feedback, Brian. Oh,
we can hear you just fine.
So we're still figuring out Facebook Live.
Okay, so I guess we can't really. It's hard to interact with them that much, like ask them questions, right? Because then they'd be typing away.
Yeah, we'd have to wait for you to type your responses.
But sometime, Breck, while we've got your Brian Peck,
B-Rec.
While we've got you, we are talking today and yesterday about the words immature and mature and how they insinuate bad and good or less than, or there's something wrong with you. Whereas, how do you talk about growth without saying that when you were less grown, you were bad? No, you were just there. That's who you were. That's what you were doing, and you were doing the best you could at the time.
Yeah.
And now that you are more mature and that you've evolved, how do we talk about that without degrading where we once were?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. What are the qualifying words that you can use? What are the adjectives that you can use if immature, it connotates where you were bad before versus now you are better, and what is poor and what is better. Forgive Cass, we forgot to do the reminder at the beginning of the service for everyone to turn off their cell phones.
Oh. It's going off. So, anyway.
Oh, look, it's my boyfriend. Hi, boyfriend.
So,
and Nicole Holloway says good morning.
Oh, hey, Nicole. No way.
Yeah, way.
Nicole is from Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Hey, Nicole. And hello. Let's see. Wendy joined in, and Julia, and Harold Sikama. He was another guest of ours as well. Hi,
Wendy,
Harold.
good to see you, Wendy. We need to talk. We haven't talked in a long time, and a lot has transpired. And my friend Leah Helbling kind of took over that podcast. And how's that going? And
think it's going good. I actually have 2 episodes coming out with her. There's a 2-part series because I ended up talking a lot.
Yeah.
So there's 2 parts to it.
Nice.
What?
Nice.
Yeah. And then Bob Barnes just joined from.
Bob, I'm so sorry to hear about your health.
We don't know if that's public information.
Well, all I'm
Cass.
gonna say is he's got pneumonia. That's like, I don't care.
That's
I mean,
normal.
like he's
There's
not
no big
ashamed
deal.
of it.
No, yeah.
But it's hard. It sucks.
Yeah. And Bethany Carter, I don't know if I know her, but.
Bethany Carter.
Hi, Bethany.
Ah,
Hello. Oh, lots of hearts.
we got some hearts.
Num, num, num.
Harold.
Harold's there.
Wait, golly, do we miss some people? Because it's coming on fast now.
It's coming fast.
Adam Shepard.
That's my boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam. I'd like to say I've heard a lot about you, but she only talks to my wife about you.
No, I only talk to his wife about explicit details.
Of your genitalia.
Correct. Yeah, so we could just sit here and interact with their comments all day. But anyway, so now we've given everyone kind of time to get to the Facebook wall. Hopefully you figured out how to get to the live feed. Obviously you did if you're here. It's weird. I don't know how this all works, but it seems to be working for a good number of you. So this is our first Q&A. In fact,
I'm using it as a mirror. I'm grooming. I'm primping. Sorry.
So this is our first Q&A, and this is actually the second time we've actually hung out in person.
Yes.
So that's weird.
From the retreat back in October.
Right. We met in October, but we've been friends for several years now. So it's kind of cool. And so we just thought as long as I was in town, we would use the miracle of modern technology to do a kind of like a cool Q&A thing if people had questions that they wanted to ask of us.
Oh, wait, there's some.
Oh, yeah, sorry. He's talking about his son is watching him.
Oh.
He's laughing.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so if we're going to kind of be keeping a side eye on the comments right now. So just if you have any questions that you want to ask, I think we actually have an in-person person coming to watch the Q&A here shortly. So if you have any questions for us, this is the opportunity to do it, and we will keep on, coming back to the comments when we have time. Hi, in studio audience.
Come around, get the camera's right. No, wait.
No, this way.
Oh, okay. It's up there.
Yeah, come on in.
Look at the screen so you can see whether you're in the screen or not. Stephen Berry.
It's Stephen Berry.
Applause.
Yeah, you should say hi to Jeff Loken. Maybe he's watching.
Are you watching, Jeff?
Are you watching?
We already lost 2
you,
people.
man.
That's fine. That's because we're boring. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
So is he going to be able to do that on his phone, or does he need access to one of those?
Who?
But check the comments, Stephen.
Yes, you will have to pull up Facebook on your phone
I can do that.
if you want to moderate our comments for us
Big
or
old phone.
tell us what people ask. So.
Oh wait, we have to introduce Jack. Come here, buddy.
So we have a listener that is asking about a meetup group in Murfreesboro, because we might have some listeners in the area who want to be a part of that in-person group in Tennessee. I'm guessing they can just go to, is it meetup.com to get more information, or?
She just needs to
contact
Are we
Cass.
friends on Facebook? Then we can add you to the Facebook group, and then we do monthly meetings in the Nashville area for EA listeners and stuff. And if we're not already friends on Facebook, just friend me and I'll hook you up.
Yeah. Don't contact me because I can't help you. I'm in Minnesota. So thank you for that question. We're getting applause from my boyfriend from some random reason. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Adam. So so I did have some questions sent in beforehand, and in the meantime, feel free to ask some. So how about this one, Cass? All right, we've had some listener feedback about, God damn it, this show is so goddamn long. It's like 2.5 hours long. Oh, that's not going to be good.
Yeah.
That's not going to be good. I mean, technical.
Yeah.
Steven over here is going to monitor our comments so that I don't have to keep checking it, because it's really disorienting and it makes me not focus. Oh, and congratulations to Steven for joining the Q&A. Thank you.
Yeah. It's weird. Small area.
Yeah. So, Cass, do you want to talk about why you think it's super awesome to have a 2.5 hour show, and that and that it really impacts you what people think about how you format your show, and that you would really like to adjust it so that everyone's happy.
Happy, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, talk about that.
So I said goodbye to my last fuck about that. So that's gone. I don't have those anymore. No, I really never did. But
yeah.
So Bob and I went around about this for years. He was always wanting to make it shorter. And I honestly, I mean, I'm ADHD, so I mean, like I get like the attention span.
Really?
So I just look at, but I'm an audiobook junkie, and so audiobooks can be up to 40 hours, and 12 hours is an average, and nobody listens to an audiobook in one sitting, and so I just look at it as more bang for the buck, especially since we went to every 2 weeks, and so you can listen to it in increments or whatever. Nobody's got a gun to your head to listen to it in one sitting.
Some might, but
yeah. In Texas, maybe Oklahoma.
Maybe.
But yeah, and then the other thing, what was the other thing? Just the length. You know, I don't know. I trim it as much as I can, and it's almost like, you know, unlike somebody who's pressured by like Hollywood studios to trim it down to an hour, you know, whatever. Nobody's telling me what to do, so I don't have to leave stuff on the cutting room floor that I don't want to.
Yeah.
And if I think somebody's, you know, this is still part of the good conversation, or my monologue is awesome and I like to just go on, and we get all kinds of feedback, about positive feedback, as far as like, I don't even listen to the interview, all I do is listen to your monologue, and then vice versa, I skip your monologue and I listen to the interview. So it's up there, it's out there for you to smorgasbord what you do with it. And here's the number one. The two, like in the top 5 podcasts in the world, one of which is Joe Rogan, one of which is the history one. What's it called? Something like, anyway, the guy that just...
You knew it yesterday.
Yeah. Anyway, the history one is like 4 to 6 hours long. Joe Rogan's show, which is an interview show and a monologue show probably, and all just jabber show, is every bit of 4 hours every week or however nothing comes out.
Yeah.
And so if longevity, I mean, it's just proof that the top shows are very long, and so there's no evidence to say that long shows do poorly.
Right.
To quite the opposite. Long shows do well. Of course, it's not just because they're long, it's because it's good content.
Right.
But
I think both can do just fine. It's just kind of up to you to decide, and that's ultimately what we have to do with the show, because if we were to listen to every single comment, we would not be making the show anymore, not because we didn't want to, but because literally people don't want this or they don't want that. And so if you take out both of them, there's nothing left. And so ultimately we just have to do what feels right for us. And also, like, I can't even imagine what it would be like if, like, I don't like I've been a guest on other shows, and it always feels a little like uncomfortable when you're like in the middle of a rant and whatever, and they kind of want to wind you down because they have that 1 hour mark that's really important to them. And I respect what their priorities are for their show, that's, you know, what they want to prioritize. But you know, it feels a little weird, and I like just kind of letting the conversations just run their way out, even if it takes an hour and a half. I like that, because then you can get into really like some deep stuff. But yeah, so that's why our shows are 2.5 hours long, sometimes more, and why it's not going to change, and that you can complain, and that's all right, but we won't do anything about it.
Yeah. Also, I thought what you were going to say, when we go on other shows, and we're, you know, with the taping, and then we stop taping, goodbye, and then weeks later it comes out, some of them, but with these time restraints, have just completely, you know, like there's barely any skeleton left of what was actually said.
Yeah.
And then that's their prerogative again, but we just don't impose that restraint on ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't really see the reason to, other than like, I will admit this, like if I'm surveying, like, I might want to listen to this podcast, and I look at the time and it says 29 minutes, I'm more likely going to go, okay, I'll try that.
Yeah.
But if it says 2 hours, I'm going to like, well, I don't know where to put in at, almost like it's a lake versus a river or something. It's like, where do I put in?
Yeah.
In order to get to the good stuff.
That's right. Welcome to the new viewers. Let's see. Okay, Steven's chatting with people.
Well, and Harold said, "Hey, thumbs up on the 2.5 hours." He says he votes in favor of keeping it long.
So since Harold says he likes it, this just it's going to be. So you can all deal with that. So the next question I have, unless anyone else does, nope, no one has any questions. You show up to a Q&A with no questions. That's cool. Oh, actually, Todd had one that he submitted beforehand. He wanted to know, what's your biggest fear and how do you handle it? So, Cass, I'm trying to guess what I think your biggest fear.
Oh, my biggest fear?
No one to listen to you?
Well,
Maybe?
I have to think about what's my biggest fear.
Yeah. And then how do you deal with it? Failure? Riveting.
It's pretty hard when you don't have any, so I'm trying to find one.
We'll let him think, and then the person with the anxiety disorder can talk about her fears. I'm just going to catch up on the comments.
Fear of not being known.
We sound like chipmunks? When does that happen?
No, I said you could speed, like, if they wanted to be faster, they can just speed it up in the podcast app.
Well,
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And some people do, but the cool thing about that technology is it doesn't make it sound like chipmunks. I don't know how to
I don't know. Brian Peck is talking about how On Being has a cut version for radio and then an uncut version as well.
Circumcised and uncircumcised.
That's what I was hearing when I was saying that out loud. Yes, as well. Yeah.
And Brian's show, when he came on my show, I've always thought about like how I just went off rails talking to him because he's just so straight.
Yeah.
And professional.
Yeah.
And real. And I go off talking about my dick at one point with him. And I've always thought, he's never going to talk to me again.
Yeah, no, I mean, he was one of the first persons to show up.
I know, I'm just honored when all these people are saying, what's that? Passion Marie sound like chipmunk.
Circumcision for the win.
No, somebody did say we sound like chipmunks.
No, it was regarding something else. Don't worry about it. Squirrel.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so question about fears. I think my biggest fear is of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely biggest fear is suffering. Second is not the absence of any stimulus, so being dead, I guess.
I could concur with those two. And I will say this as far as something that always just, creeps me out or something is the thought of being stabbed. Like that doesn't go well with me. Or when these videos, you get YouTubes of like people hurting themselves, falling off a roof or like skateboard accidents and stuff. And they're all like cringe moments.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, I viscerally like freak out. My body just, down to the marrow of my bones. I can't watch them.
Yeah.
It's not fun for me to watch because I just cringe. Even now, if I were to imagine, here's, awesome. I got it. Here's my biggest fear. Playing tag at night, like, as a child, with neighborhood friends, which you're running through yards, neighbors' yards, hiding behind fences and stuff. And so a water meter hole
This is so specific.
has been left open, or a manhole cover has been left open. I'm just running along. One foot goes down into the hole. My body keeps going, and my leg breaks this way, front ways.
That's intriguing.
Oh, fuck. That's a
your
nightmare.
Very specific dream?
It's a nightmare.
Does it have to be during tag?
Well, just why else would you be running in the
Maybe
dark in someone else's
Sketchmaker?
neighborhood?
Cops and robbers still?
That's why I don't run in anybody's yard at night. Why
That's
would
fair.
I? But that's just a big fear I have. And so even in my own yard, when I have to turn off the water to do some plumbing, I'm careful to leave something sticking up out of the hole, so in case a postman or a dog or something is walking by, they won't fall in it, because it's just so my body does cringe and just viscerally anytime I see somebody break a bone. Even I'm watching basketball or football and some guy's ankle will turn. Nope, nope, can't do it.
So then how do we cope with that? You put every hole that you see, you put a stick in it. Oh yeah, you have a new name. Cast No Fear Mentally. So how do you deal with that fear then? How do you deal with
I
the?
just look away when that stuff's going on.
Yeah, yours is uninteresting.
Okay.
We'll do mine.
Oh, okay, go.
So how do I, and it's, since you empathize with it, you relate to it, how do you deal, and I bet a lot of people also have the same fear, how do you deal with the fear of suffering or the fear of the loss of experience, aka dying? I don't have an answer. Like, my best attempt is exposure, like trying to get familiar with it, trying to not avoid the fear of it, but engage the fear of it and explore it and ask it questions and get to know it. Ooh, we could talk about what I wrote in the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless there's any other questions. Nope, there's not. So I can tell a story. You want me to tell a story?
Hi, Chris Watson.
Ooh, and Corey Klein.
Can we say their names out loud? I mean,
I don't know.
right? Is this our safe?
No, this is public.
This is public space.
But it's not like their names are like going in the comments or whatever. But all the same, we'll just use first names from now on.
Yeah.
Sorry if anyone felt uncomfortable up to now. We'll just see first names. Hey Corey. Hey Chris. What's up? All right. So story time. I didn't tell you this, Steven.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. So okay. So I have a lot of anxiety around traveling, and it's been earned, honestly. I have lots of horror stories of traveling. And obviously I have an anxiety disorder, fear of dying, fear of suffering, fear of death, blah, blah, blah. So I was on my flight on Thursday, and I used some vaping courage and and
in the bathroom at the airport.
You don't have to be so specific,
It wasn't
Cass.
on the plane. It wasn't on the plane.
This is not information that belongs to you. You're not running away very fast. And so that was actually really helpful. And so when I was flying, it was just like a combination of the anxiety of flying plus being high plus being me. And I just kind of had this epiphanal moment where I was feeling all of this fear of this wing falling off and of crashing into the ground, and this is going to be the last moment. And what did I say to my partners before I took off on this one flight that is surely going to kill me? And I'm just like playing my whole life in front of my eyes, like, what have I done with my life? Like, well, at least I'm going to this everyone's agnostic thing, and I've done something important, and I can die now. But like, anyway, so I was high, and all of a sudden just like this phrase like came to my head, which won't make sense yet, so I'll have to explain it. But for right now, the phrase is, yes, you will kill me, but I will watch. Because it's another way of saying, it's another way of saying like looking death in the eyes, but not really, or like accepting death. But in this case, for me, my relationship with death and dying and being mortal is such a violent one. Like, I feel really offended that I'm going to be killed by life. Like, I take it very personally, and so it feels very violent and non-consensual that my life is going to be taken away from me and my experience is going to be taken away from me. And so the phrase for me means I'm acknowledging, yes, that being alive, being in this world is, yes, it's going to kill me. And I'm not going to deny that, and I'm going to tell it, yes, okay, I know that you're going to kill me, but I'm going to watch you do it. I'm not going to constantly be flinching and looking away every time I, turn a corner and I'm afraid that the plane is going to go down or whatever. So like I'm looking out the window and looking at this wing, and my brain is telling me that wing could fall off at any second. And I said and it felt like that fear of life telling me you could die any minute, you could die any minute, you could die right now. And so I'm like, yeah, that wing could fall off, and yes, life could kill me right now, but I'm going to watch it happen. Like, I'm not going to flinch away. I'm not going to close that window. I'm not going to like try to distract myself. And I'm not saying that this is like the cure for everything. It's just, this is what happened yesterday, 2 days ago. And I just looked at that wing and I just watched it shimmying like this, and I was like, it could break, it could kill me. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch this. And so I just kept my eyes on it, and I just watched it. I just watched it shaking, and like was with my feelings of my fear of plummeting to the ground. And I was like, I will watch this. I'm not turning away from this fear. I'm going to be present with it, because I mean, that's the least amount of control that I can exert over my life, is to watch myself lose it. So that was kind of a phrase I took away of, yes, you're going to kill me, but I'm going to watch. And then it kind of evolved because after our friend Dave is ill, he's dying of ALS. And I was thinking about him, and I haven't told him this yet. I'll tell him in a couple of hours. But my phrase for him is he's living his death out loud. He's living his dying out loud. For me, it's like, yes, I'm going to die, and I'm going to let everyone watch. Like, he's just living it out loud, and I think it's there's no words left after you lose religion about blessing. Like, it's not a blessing, it's not a gift. There's no providence involved, but it's a great thing what he's doing for other people. He's
Fortunate.
living. Then there's fortune, and who's giving you fortune, and who's in charge of the fortune.
All these loaded words.
Yeah.
Words
I
matter.
didn't think about that.
I'm pedantic. But anyway, yeah.
So I think to go from, yes, you're going to kill me, but I'm going to watch, and then for yes, you're going to kill Dave, but he would say, yes, you're going to kill me, but I'm going to let everybody watch.
I'm going to let everyone watch. Yep.
And just we acknowledging what is, and like, okay, are we going to act like it's not happening?
Yes. Yeah. So that's great. So people are just. Todd said that the only way to avoid death is to not have experienced life.
Yeah.
Also, hello, Wayne.
Is Wayne on?
Yeah, Wayne got on there.
Wayne.
Yeah. Hey, little Wayne from Canada.
And Fiona, it's 6:20 in the morning in Australia or New Zealand, wherever she's at.
Oh my God, you got up at 6:20 to listen to this?
Well, she stumbled onto it probably.
Oh, maybe we're inferring choice there. Oh, we've got a comment from Brian that I'm going to read out loud. So this is what Brian wrote. Where there is pain, there are values. We hurt where we care. If you look beneath the pain, we will almost always discover that something that matters to us. Once we connect with this underlying value, we can develop a new relationship to our pain. Now, instead of needing to avoid our pain, we can turn towards it because it's connected to our values. Pain equals this is what it feels like to do what matters.
Wow, let's say that again. Pain equals this is what it feels like to do what matters.
Yeah.
Better to have loved than have lost and have never loved.
No pain, no gain. That is not a healthy logo.
Well, how about no love, no pain? I mean, like you don't love, you're safe.
Yeah.
From like getting that. What is it? There's a song. Oh, owner of a lonely heart, much better than an owner of a broken heart.
Yeah.
So it literally is just saying, I'm not going to get involved with people, so that I don't get hurt. Well, how lonely does that owner of a lonely heart? I mean, like, you like that? How's that working for you?
Yeah. No, it's absolutely
not
right.
Sustainable.
Yeah. Also, hello, Kim. Hello, Tammy. Fiona did not mean to wake up at 6:20. She just came across us. Oh, and thanks, Wayne, for the shout out to trapezing, which is a phrase I haven't used in a while to infer just courageous fear.
Let go.
What's the story? It's a thing that I do. Whatever, Cass. Whatever. It's fine. Hey, Tammy. Okay, so next question. No, nothing. At any time, you guys can put in a question in the comments. I see you're engaging. That totally works. Whatever. You guys are in charge, sort of. So, I had a really good question from Carrie Becken before the Q&A. What is our vision for the podcast and the community? And if we had a magic wand for what we're doing and could do anything with it or see it go anywhere, where would it go? If I had a magic wand, all I know is that I want to do this full time. I would want this to be my job.
Me too. It would be great. But
that's just a peripheral detail. Yeah. But like more focused, my vision and mission for the podcast and the community.
Okay, another thing, like unlimited funds type of thing, I would sponsor a. I might do something to where I work with clusters of listeners that are regional fly there and like help set up a community that meets monthly.
Yeah.
And it's organic, like it's run by them, and they, you know, just give but
like
just
a community organizer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but for a very specific mission.
Yeah, it's just post-Christian trauma support group type thing, and yeah. So I mean, all the way to New Zealand and Netherlands and stuff. Just everywhere there's a little bit of focused people that would benefit from it. Just fly there and jumpstart it, and stay a week, and you know.
Would you have fun though?
I never have fun.
So we won't have fun.
Fun's not a thing.
We'll be very serious.
Fun is an illusion.
Yeah, well,
it is an illusion.
You know, it's relative. I guarantee it, because whatever.
For me, like the vision that I have for this show does not involve numbers. Like I don't look at Libsyn, or I don't look at our hosts or our downloads or anything and look at those numbers and fixate on them too much. I do, you know, promote things on social media and shit, but ultimately, at the end of the day, if our numbers don't increase, I don't care. Like my goal of the show, if my goal of the show is just to try to make it accessible to those who may want it. Should people not want it, I don't care. Like that's not where like that. I just want to make it available to people who could benefit from it. Even if there's people who are recovering from religion and need something akin to what we have, and they just really don't like us or the format of the show, like that's totally cool with me. I just want to work together with the other shows like Voices of Deconversion, Recovering from Religion, Your Atheist Pastor, people like that. We're all working together to help the community heal and grow.
Yeah, the Life After.
Oh, Life After, thank you. Yep, with Ryan Bell. So like I just see ourselves as part of a bigger community that's just hitting different angles of the same problem or the same challenge rather. So that's I don't know other than that. I don't know what if I have anything bigger than that for the mission of the show. Like I know that out of anything that I've done, like this gives me the most purpose I've ever felt in my life, and I'm absolutely where I need to be, and so I want to keep doing this and keep supporting people and elevating the stories of people who have gone through religious trauma and giving them a platform to talk about it, especially people who aren't known in the community. Like we've had some people who are known, right? Like Brian Peck is well known, Ryan Bell, Daryl Ray is going to be coming on our show in May. They're well known, but I prefer those stories of just everyday people, because it's really funny because most of those people are like, I don't think I have anything interesting.
I'm not worthy.
Or no, they just don't think that their story's that interesting.
Yeah.
But you just get talking to them and it's like, no, it's a really good story and you deserve to be heard. I do want to try to make more effort to get a greater representation on our show of race, of gender, expression of gender identity, of all those kinds of things, and to try to hear more voices and more experiences as well. So that is a passion of mine, and at the same time, we have a guest list that is 2 years long right now. We are booked out. And it's tough because we're only doing 2 shows a month now, so it's a slow churning machine, and so we've got a lot of people lined up, but it's a diverse crowd too. So if I could like if we could just like quit our jobs and like do EA all the time, we'd go back to weekly for sure, and probably do other things as well, and try to put more resources out there and build more community. So I'm just gonna check messages real quick.
Well, in light of what you just said, I'm grateful that listeners have options now, because you just listed like 5 or 6 different shows that are very similar in theme and intent, but very different in flavor and tone and vibe, and so that people have options. And I think it's a testimony of not only how many people are deconverting in mass. Like it's thanks to Trump and 9/11 and the way the evangelicals treat LGBTQ, mass exodus from church. But then the more that they stop going to church, the thinking goes to, oh, I can consider this, I can entertain this. Nobody has a gun or their head to stick to inerrancy, for example, or substitutionary atonement, or something that I just can't. I've got to stick to it, because in order to be a part of the tribe, I have to dot my I, cross my T, and march to the same drum. Whereas step by step, as they find themselves individualizing and differentiating from their codependent relationship with the church, they start to get a mind of their own. Anyway, that's happening en masse. So there's not only more shows popping up, but there's more listeners popping up. Yeah. And there's listeners that we've said many times that graduate out of the system. Like my trauma is not so fresh and poignant that I don't really need to continue hearing these stories. Yeah. Whereas back when I was really, really drowning in it and scared, and the bottom had fallen out, and I didn't know what was up or down, lost, confused, lonely, it was a lifeline. And thank you. And here's $5 a month. Yeah.
I think that reminds me of another thing about how I view our show, like that I don't want indefinite numbers. Like I don't want every person to come in to like hold on to them. Like I don't think we see this as marketing people, like, oh, we got a listener, how do we keep you and how do we keep that listener engaged? Like I want that listener to be here as long as they want to be here, and then when they don't need us anymore, I want them to be free to go. Like I don't want to hold on to anyone. That's why we're not a church. Like we wouldn't be a very good church, because we're
let pretty people, good cult though.
We are an excellent cult. Our Kool-Aid is top notch. Jeff Logan and I have tasted it all. It's great.
It's gin and tonic.
Which is what we'll be doing after this, because this is not anxiety provoking at all. So yeah, so I think we answered that question. So there is a question, I think that it was Fred had submitted before the show, and he asked, how do you make the decision whether or not to come out? Meaning telling people that you are a non-believer, telling people you have doubts, telling people that you're an atheist, or whatever label or place you are in with your mind. So how do you make that decision? How do you make that call? What criterion do you use to make that decision? There's a lot of comments going on here. What do you think, Cass?
Well, before I answer that, I want to say hi to Kurt, and I like he's talking about chapters in every city, and we'll call it Apostates Anonymous.
Apostates Anonymous.
AA chapter. And then Bethany, you were talking about Gail Jordan, and who recently moved away from here, and all the resources that
recovering from religion. Excellent.
Wake up, Charles. Charles is driving and watching. Stop it, Charles!
Do not crash, please.
Please do not crash. En masse.
Massachusetts? En masse.
What did I say? Oh, they're leaving en masse. He's talking about. Yeah. Isn't that ENMASSE or something? I don't know.
Correct.
So the answer to the question, when to come out? I will say to the point in which you. I think there's like this scale going on, and one is how much you value your own, not only freedom, but your own freedom to be authentic, to live as genuine as you can in front of as much people as you can. And so if that's 100%, then you are the freest person, that you can be relationally. Whereas if you have to tamp down certain aspects of your own values and your expressions or your systems, then it's sustainable. It can be sustainable if it's minor, especially if you only have to see your mother once a year. And for that 2 hours or maybe a weekend, you kind of just keep your non-religion or whatever to yourself. And if that doesn't cost you anything and is not stressful, and yet you think it would be beneficial or non-beneficial to just keep it off the table, fine. But I guess that scale is, if you are living a life where your disingenuineness is starting to take a toll on your soul, for lack of a better word, or your own happiness, then that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to eat, not humble pie, but like
Crow,
whatever. You're going to have the bitter pill. You're going to have to
swallow.
You're going to have to do the hard thing, step out of that. Here's the thing about comfort zones that we all know, though, is that it looks like it's horrifying to step over that line. And then when you do, you realize 99 times out of 100, it really wasn't as bad as your imagination made it out to be. So, that's mine. Take it.
Mine is a lot simpler. In this case, usually it's not, but it's mostly because I haven't thought about it for very long. But I think that you should do it when you're ready. I think asking other people can provide you some knowledge about other people's experiences and other people's choices as far as like the criterion that you could choose to make that choice, and you could learn about how other people make that choice. But ultimately, it's 100% up to you, and I guess you just need to consider the consequences of what may go down, like kind of play out worst case scenario, best case scenario. Like if you're 17 and you're dependent on your family on your parents to give you a roof over your head and food, and you don't have a skill set to financially support yourself or another social network to support yourself, it doesn't sound like a great time to double down on your integrity and come out as atheist or a non-believer. So you kind of just have to take an inventory of what's going on around you and what kind of consequences you are ready to deal with or not. Which also kind of reminds me of like back to the question about the magic wand that Carrie asked if we had a magic wand for the show. You know what I would love to do, like financially, if we had a magic wand, I would want to take funds like a foundation, like not a scholarship, but like
an endowment or
and then as we come across people in the community who are in, like, whether it's somebody whose life's been fucked over financially, such as yourself, because of the teachings of the church to just let God take control of the money and just give everything away or whatever, or it's maybe youth who were kicked out of their homes or ran away or whatever, and so now they're homeless or they're in a really bad situation or whatever. They're just having to do shitty jobs and can't get a leg up because of how church affected them. Like, I would want to financially find a way to support people that we come across in the community financially to get them back on their feet if they were negatively affected financially or otherwise by their religious experience. I think that would be really fucking cool. And Luke King does do something a little like that, on a very, very small scale. With
your atheist pastor.
With your atheist pastor, yeah. They their Patreon money, they take a percentage, 20% of it, and then they give that amount to people in their community as needed. Usually it's like a small gift card, but bigger scale, that would be super fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's do Fiona's question.
Just checking. I'm just checking the comments. Adam just kind of mentioned that it can be a wider question about as far as coming out as gay, atheist, etc. Back to the question about when you decide to come out. I think our answers apply to any kind of identity: coming out atheist, coming out pansexual, I see you, or any other identity as well. It's really up to you. It's about the consequences that you feel you're capable of managing. So, or emotional consequences, really. So next question, Fiona, who woke up at 6:20 in the morning and wasn't deliberately looking for us, but found us anyway.
Good morning, Australia.
Love you. So Fiona's question is, what have you learned to be the most important thing or things in life since deconverting?
I know mine.
Go for it.
Self-love.
Self-love is the most important thing after deconverting.
Right. Just because Christianity was so self-debasing, there was some work to undo there, and still is, and maybe for the rest of my life, I'll be just learning how to embrace myself and not feel that I'm lacking anything, or that I need a savior, or that I need fixing. You know, we're really in the throes of this conversation right now. As far as, yes, I'm on a journey. Yes, I've set goals for myself. Yes, I want to improve. Yes, I want to be the better version of myself. But I'm just going to be very careful not to let those endeavors create any kind of shame on I'm behind schedule, or I'm not measuring up, or all those kind of measurements. You know, there is no arrival, and so there is no late or behind or ahead or good. It is what it yeah, you know, it just is. And saying yes to that is powerful. And the yes, and I'm not bogged down by shame to like even postpone or pause my progress. I'm saying yes to what little or more or great progress there has been, and I'm free to pick up the pace or not, or fucking have a drink and take a bath. I mean, like, there's no rules to this journey about the development of our characters and persons.
Because there's no God. And we're just a bunch of apes that are colonizing Earth.
We are dumb apes that don't know what we're doing.
Apes and colonizers.
And
fuck your colonization. For me, what's the most important thing in life? Me. And it's probably on par with what you're saying, self-love. Like, yeah, no, I think it is probably literally what you're saying. It's knowing my strength, my value. I don't even like the word value because that infers that you can have a low value. I just know that I am and I'm okay. There's no way to talk about, there's no language to say things are without giving a qualification that has an opposite.
Yep.
I am beyond qualifications. I am, what's the word when you're beyond it? Like post. I am post evaluation. I am beyond being evaluated. I cannot be evaluated. Ooh!
Well, in a way, like if the Garden of Eden is this place where you can only stay if you don't engage with the knowledge of good and evil, which is that evaluation matrix or grid. And so by going outside of that, or just never having eaten it and choosing the tree of life, I mean, like I'm just using that to say we're outside that whole place, and it's so American and it's so human, and to just constantly be measuring you. Now, I want to say this in light of this conversation. I also, so take for example this movement that happened in the last 20 years in especially elementary education, where they kind of had this, somebody had this idea that said, why are we doing this A, B, C, and D? You know, why are we doing this? Why can't we let kids that are struggling feel okay with where they are as opposed to where they are in contrast to the smartest motherfucker in class? Mm-hmm. And, you know, this whole contrast, compare, and competition that is so fucking American. How about just, like, you know, give this child some feedback as to how they did on that particular exam, but not in a way that makes them feel less than. Now, the right wings came back and just said, oh, we've babied these, you know, we don't want to, you know, and the fragility and the snowflake bullshit. And so I'm just throwing it out there as, yes, and yes, I don't want to shame myself. Yes, I want to find language that is outside evaluation, good or bad, comparison, contrast. And I want to know that if and when I do, you know, stumble or use those words, or maybe even shame myself for 5 minutes or whatever, that I'm not a snowflake. I'm not so fragile that it's going to take me down or send me spiraling into depression. No, I know that, you know, I'm I know what I am, and yeah, I compared to Marie, I'm like not as good at this. Compared to Stephen, I'm not as good at this. And we do that, and our brains are monkey brains, and so they're gonna go, and we rein it in and say, you know what? I love it. I love them. I love me, and I'm okay. I don't know. I'm just saying, how do we prevent ourselves from becoming really fragile when it comes to like dancing around taboo words that are gonna throw us into, depression or whatever. I mean, somehow a toughness in there around our knowledge and self-love that is not triggered by like every other word that is in the vocabulary.
It's a peace with yourself.
Yeah.
So we have some questions coming through now.
Go
so
for
we're
it.
going to have to catch up with them. This is an old question already. So Kim asked, what do you tell your children, or in her case, her grandchildren, about how much to reveal to their parents and their classmates about their beliefs or the lack thereof? So how much are you out, or how do you teach your child to engage with the world around them in terms of outing yourself? I'm not going to answer. I don't have kids. I'll let Cass answer.
I think what we really want is a society where where it's not a thing to be religious or non-religious, gay or straight, so that we can just treat it like, hey, did you see that movie, or have you ever been to that restaurant? And if it comes up, then they say, hey, what do you believe? Then just say, yeah, I have seen that movie, I have been to that restaurant, and I'm an atheist. It's like I put it on par as far as gravitas. Ideally, it's not, but in an ideal society, it would be light, and so I want to treat it light, and I would encourage my kids to not be bullies with their religion, impose them on somebody else, or even make it just super central to your identity. Because for religionists, Christians, for example, it might even be the number one identifier of their self. Number one, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian first and foremost. And, without God, I'm nothing. Before God, I was nothing. He's everything to me. So it's just like huge. Whereas as atheists, it literally is a non-thing. There is no God. There is nothing defining me. There's just me. And so we don't have the impetus to make it a big deal to our peers that the Christians do. And so I'd say mind your own business. However, just like when it comes to locker room talk and a bunch of guys are talking shit, and you're a guy in that room, I think it's brave and courageous to make it a point to do your 2 cents to turn society's Titanic ship around and say, hey, not cool. Let's not go there, okay? As opposed to just walking out. So, in the atheist movement, if somebody's saying, we really should make abortion illegal, I mean, that's political. But if we should make prayer in schools, these religious-driven legislations, I think it would be worthwhile to in order to be a part of society and contribute to the evolution of it, to say, you know what, here's what I think. I think prayer is available in schools right now. And you can pray to whatever God you want. Let's not let's not choose which God to make all the kids pray to, et cetera, et cetera. That's in a nutshell. Not a nutshell.
Write it down. That's how you're treating your kids now. So we're coming up to noon, and Cass and I need to drive into Nashville. We don't have to. We're gonna drive into Nashville because we're gonna hang out with Dave and eat pizza, and I'm super excited. So we're gonna try to wrap this up. I'm gonna do one more question, and then we have a few topics that we just want to cover exiting as well. So the next question I want to ask.
Which one you doing? Oh, down here. Okay.
Right here. So the next question I wanted to ask is, and I asked the question because I want to hear myself say it. But the question is, how has doing this show changed you? So do you want to start?
No.
Well.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. This show has not created anything out of me that was not already there. So that's important to say. I was already on a journey of this, and the show has been steroids for me. Like I had already been working on finding my voice and using my voice. I confronted a misogynist person back in September before I even became a part of the show, which was kind of a new thing for me. That was kind of a big deal. And so that I was already kind of on this path to finding my voice and to into kind of being woke and to stop judging people and to support people on their journeys as well. And I'd already wanted to play a role on the earth with helping people to recover from their religious trauma. And I just didn't really know in what capacity I'd be able to do that. And so when I went to the retreat in October and met Cass and didn't think he was horrible, and I heard that he needed help with the show and stuff, I was like, yup, like I have no hesitations at all. Give me everything, like all of your passwords. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm going. And being on the show, I think especially the co-hosting part of it has made me fall in love with myself. Like I like what I have to say. I like how I say it. I'm proud of the work that I've done on the show. I'm proud of the conversations that we've had. I'm proud of the mature, honest relationship that Cass and I have, and the people that we get to talk to every day. He's messing with the camera now. Oh, because now we can see Steven. We want to see Steven. Sorry if you're getting sick. The camera's really shaking.
Yeah.
Really shaking.
Oh.
Oh, it's thundering outside. There we go.
Is that good?
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you can actually see me now.
For the
Yeah.
last 5 minutes or seconds.
Yeah, so the show has definitely helped me find my voice and it's really increased my self-esteem a lot, and I feel so good. I feel so solid and safe, and I think all the people that I've added into my life to act as a proxy for me feeling secure and loved. It's not that I don't need you anymore, but like I feel that in myself now. Like I feel like I am aware of my own internal resources now and my ability as a human and to be the person that I need to be for myself. So and I get the chance to grow like all the time, talking to these new people, and like talking to Cass is really challenging because we both like talking about these deep philosophical issues. We were up to until midnight last night talking about some shit that was just like,
whoa, it got deep.
Blew my mind, and I have not come across many people who can talk like that with me, and so it was just very grounding. And so like having our relationship has been incredibly valuable to me and has changed me and has made me, I described it to, maybe I was chatting with one of my partners last night, like it just feels like I know that I'm in the Matrix, and I know I'm in the Matrix, but I still have to live in it, but I've got that self-awareness that I'm in the Matrix, and I've been looking and looking and looking for someone else who knows that we're actually in the Matrix, right? We're in the Matrix, right?
You do know that, right?
Right? No? Okay, I'm the only crazy one that's like freaking out here. But then, like, I don't know, Cass and a lot of people in the community, they're like, yeah, dude, we're like super in the Matrix. Like, this is fucked up. We want to talk about it. I'm like, I've only wanted to talk about it for 36 years, and then religion got in the way, and like, yeah. So it's just, I just feel like I'm coming home. Like, being a part of this just makes me feel at home, and obviously that's going to change a person in the best way, and it gives me a lot of security. So that's what I've got. For Cass, obviously he's the same person as when he started 5 years ago. Nothing has changed. So next question.
In many ways, yes. But I think it does give my meaningless life a little bit of meaning.
Yeah.
And you know, the community building and even like the pastoral wheelhouse. I don't know. I mean, who knows if it's a carryover from just neural pathways that just somehow my body still thinks I'm a pastor. And but you know, fuck it. It just happens naturally. And
You have the skill set.
It's just an extension of who I am. I'm not trying to be anything, but I will say that it did, being a person of depression, it's helped my depression just to have a creative outlet. I look at it as art. I mean, yeah, it's helping people. It's practical. It's pragmatic. It's got all those applications. But I don't write songs anymore, and I don't play my instruments anymore. But I treat conversation, and I don't know if anybody picks up on this, but the art of listening to somebody talk, and you're almost like the teeth of a bike chain. You're literally locked in, and it's no effort to like just be listening to them. And one thing we can't do as much as we could if we were live was interject quickly, because the internet's got this delay, and so you're not as prone to interject quickly, but you wait your turn, and then it just. So if you're at the entrance of a cave, and it's a cave you've never speedlined, you don't know where this is going. That's how I look at every show. Right at the top. No list of questions. Just let's see where this takes us. Mm-hmm. So organically, the listener takes the guest takes a left, and then I hear a right, and I interject and say, well, this is what you just said made me think of this. So it's not literally just us interviewing the guest. It's allowing the guest's story to unearth things in Marie and I, and so it becomes a menage a trois versus let's just talk to this one person, of whom is the central figure in the interview. But it's exciting to see where this goes. And then sometimes, you guys may have noticed or listened for a long time, sometimes a question from left field will come in just because it came up organically, and the person will go, I can't believe you asked me that. That just happened this week. Not like it's, what we used to call divine or something, but just how else would we have unearthed that thing that ends up being in one of the most interesting and maybe valuable points of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Cass has changed. So it's about 12:03, and we need to eat pizza soon. So we're gonna wrap up. Cass, is there anything you have in mind before we wrap up?
Well, I didn't know at all what to expect from this. I enjoyed it much more than I thought I did.
Did you know that we could actually do this remotely too? Like, we start it, and then I can ask to be added on, and then there'll be two screens next to each other, and then people can interface with us.
Let's do it.
We'll talk about that offline.
Look at all the hearts that just came up.
Whoa! I don't know what we just said.
Bubble smiley faces and hearts and thumbs ups and stuff.
That's fun. That's very validating. Ooh, look at more hearts.
What about?
Yum, 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 yum.
Oh, Hunter. Hey, Hunter.
They're right here on my screen.
Hi, Hunter.
You know Hunter?
No.
He said first timer.
Oh. He's a first timer. You are welcomed into the.
Hi, David. David. David was on the show. So.
Oh, there's more.
Catch him. Can they see those?
Yeah, but probably at different times.
So I'm gonna read Fiona's comment. The word that comes to mind is safe. I think people feel safe with you to share all their stuff, not be shut down, judged, and that's very special. What a gift to give people, Cass and Marie. Thank you, Fiona. Okay, Hunter, I'm sorry to tell you this, but we are closing down. We've been on for an hour.
Do the speakers respond to the live feed? Oh.
Yes, we did.
Sorry, Hunter, we're just finishing up, Hunter, but you can restart the video from the beginning, and we'll probably do another one in maybe a few months, so stay tuned. If you want to contact us, we're at everyone'sagnostic@gmail.com. So the last few things I wanted to plug. are, before we say goodbye and go get pizza with Dave, is...
Adam's applauding.
I love you, Adam.
And Kurt says, great show, guys.
He's not...
Kurt.
Great
Kurt?
show. All right.
Yeah, Kurt.
So these are say yes to what is stickers. If you want any, you don't have to want any. I don't really fucking care. I am not a salesperson. If you want some, contact us. He's going to bring these up to the video camera.
Boom.
How's that?
Boom.
That looks pretty good. Yeah. Hold it right there.
If you want them, you got them.
But not on top of each other. That's not helpful.
3D house
Still
of
get 'em anyway.
pancakes.
Yeah. Aw, Kurt thinks I'm cute. Thanks. I think I'm cute too. Aw. Oh, and Cass is also cute. Yay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the cutest.
So the stickers, if you want them, let us know. everyone'sagnostic@gmail.com. And last thing we want to bring up is that we have one detail.
We have one detail. Oh, yeah. We had a retreat last October.
It was amazing.
26 people came and all lived together in a big cabin with 40 beds. And we just spent the weekend. We did sit down for a check-in to introduce ourselves to each other, but that was it. There was no teaching. There was no conference. There was no guest speaker. There were no classes
Or prayers.
or prayers.
There was alcohol.
One alcohol.
Everything was
All
optional.
the alcohol.
And we just made it up. Like we just said, oh, you want to play a game? You want to go for a walk? You want to go for a hike? You want to go sit on the patio? And so we're talking about doing another one in October again.
Yep.
More details to come, I guess.
Yep. So I'm thinking probably the second weekend in October because that's more or less when we did it last time. So
I think we'd like to get somehow, if there was a way to get an idea of how many are interested.
yeah, I think maybe we'll probably. So here's a reminder that anyone listening, there is a private Facebook support group for former guests of the show as well as listeners. If you're not a part of that, you can join. Just contact Cass or I, and we'll get you in there. If you don't want to participate, you don't have to. That's fine too. Anyway, we'll talk to the group and try to get a sense of who's interested in going. But I'm imagining that there will be a lot of people.
Just on that private group, there was something that came up this week that's just funny because we know there's over 200 people in the group, and somebody chimed in this week and they said, "Look, I've been in this group for years. I've never said anything. I don't know any of you, but I just came out to my mom and I'm scared, or like this is how it went, or whatever."
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it's for, because these people will rally around you, not try to fix you or give you too much advice, but just say, "This is what worked for me," or "Way to go," or "Here's a shoulder to cry on." It's just amazing. Fucking love it.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's not
All right.
about, yeah. So anything else we need to answer before we sign off? Because we need pizza like so bad. Very interested in the retreat. Yep, retreat. Block maybe like the second weekend in October, and it'll be in Tennessee again. It'll be literally in the same spot we went last time, which is East Tennessee in the Smoky Mountains. We're not going to make it complicated. It worked last year. Fuck it. I don't want to plan this shit.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
The only thing about that is that there's not a major airport near that. Like Nashville's the closest airport.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to rent a car or carpool, because all of us are coming from Nashville, so we could work all that stuff out.
Yeah, it worked last year.
It worked last year.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. So I think that's it. I want to thank Stephen for being our in-studio audience and just being hilarious in general. And I want to thank you all of the listeners for your support. Thank
you. This is our theme song. Go ahead. We're in the background. Thank you.
Thank you for our Patreon supporters and your financial support.
Wait, what's the Ray Bolts? Thank you for giving to the Lord.
Oh, God, no!
Dun, dun, dun.
Trigger!
I was a life that was changed.
No, they're making hearts. Stop. No hearts. Do not encourage this.
Thank you.
No. Oh.
Ray Bolts. Classic.
Can I show my
Best
tits?
of all time.
All right. Hold on. You have to let them know. You have to give a
It's a
content
flash. It
warning.
was a flash.
Flash.
Oh, there's tons of people love your.
They
They
love my breasts.
your tits.
Exclusive content.
Nice
Everyone's
tits.
agnostic.
These are my cancer-free breasts.
Oh my god.
Exclusive.
Hopefully.
All right, thanks for listening. Hope you got something out of it, even if it was just Cass's tits. Bye. And